computer, and I am going to hit live on Facebook too. And oh, this is a new one. Continue as Mac. Yes, let's do that. Okay. Okay, maybe that won't work. In any case, we're good to go. Hey, folks, first of all, hey, thank you everyone for joining us today. I know Saturdays are busy for everybody, and we all very much appreciate your time. We wanted to chat with you just for a little bit today about the topics of focus, emotional and mental well-being. And this is a big topic, and we've got, again, our normal panel here of Julie Herring, Dawn Bauschman, Judy Dinsler, and Cheryl Fitzharris, and we're all going to just talk a little bit about this subject. And as we get into it, Cheryl, maybe if I can turn to you, you can help define a little bit for us what this program is all about in terms of the mental and emotional stress.
Well, Mac, we need to take care of ourselves because mental and emotional stress are forms of stress that occur because of how events in our external and internal environment are perceived, and it results in psychological experiences of distress and anxiety. And, you know, there's a lot going on today, and people are very stressed in many areas of their life. But anyway, Mac, here are a few common causes of mental and emotional stress. And I was wondering if anyone out in our audience, any of us, have had an experience of any of these. And number one, trauma or abuse. Number two, experiences related to ongoing health conditions. That's a biggie. Biological factors of chemical imbalances in the brain. Alcohol or drug use, another biggie. Bereavement, losing someone that we love. Social disadvantage like poverty or being in debt. And feeling of loneliness or isolation, which is another big one today. So I know we've all experienced them, and I know we're going to have some solutions for everyone today. And I'd like to pass it back to Mac.
You know, thank you, Cheryl. And, you know, we are going to talk about the Sunrider food some, so we will get to our disclaimers and stuff. But, you know, I appreciate you kind of going through that list. And I'll only speak for myself here, but I know I've certainly experienced a lot of those things, which I'm dealing with right now. I mean, the losing someone. I don't know, many of us I know have lost people close to us in the last year or so, just dealing with COVID and challenges, bless you. The feelings of loneliness and isolation, my goodness, a lot of us have been there as we've been cooped up and kind of trapped due to COVID for the last couple of years. So these are things that a lot of people, I think, are dealing with right now, not to mention the loss of jobs, the whole issue about social disadvantages and people being in poverty and debt right now. There's just so much going on. You know, as we always do, we are going to talk about some of the Sunrider foods. So I just quickly want to read this disclaimer of none of the information provided in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. Because we are going to speak briefly about Sunrider, I just quickly want to go through what is Sunrider for any new people that might be on the call or anybody that might be watching this as a recorded segment. First of all, Sunrider's been around over 40 years. It's an extremely stable company. Most companies in these industries, or many of them, tend to come and go overnight. That's not the case with Sunrider. 40-year history, be around for another 40 and another 40 after that. Sunrider operates in over 50 countries around the world, allowing many of us the opportunity of a global business if we choose to have that. Heck, one of the things I love most about Sunrider is the ability to travel around the world, to interact with their cultures, see how other people live and function in their own home countries and their environments. Sunrider, again, unique to this industry, handles 100% of all the research, development, and manufacturing of its products. Most companies in this industry will simply hand off to a third party a recipe and say, make my product for me. They have no control over the manufacturing, more or less the research and development of their foods. Sunrider manufactures over 400 of the world's finest health and beauty products, everything from whole food nutritionals to cleansing beverages, to weight management, to sports and fitness, to green household, and all natural skincare and cosmetics. So with that said, let's kind of get into the kind of the meat of the program today, if you will. And before I turn it over to Judy, I just wanted to, again, cover some of these behavioral symptoms, if you will, that many people may be dealing with today. And sorry, I didn't mean to advance it. I was just trying to let somebody in the room. Hopefully I haven't messed them up. Let me do that real quick, just so we can get everybody in here. Excellent. Mental and behavioral symptoms may include things like, are you feeling overwhelmed or more emotional than usual? Boy, I sure have. As a matter of fact, I can remember talking with this group actually, a month or two ago, when we were first starting off on the springtime element, and acknowledging to everybody, it was been a really emotional period of time for me. That still maintains itself. Losing focus and having trouble keeping track of things and remembering, yeah, okay. Trouble making decisions, solving problems, concentrating, getting your work done. Anybody having that kind of issue? Or unfortunately, the use of alcohol or drugs to relieve the emotional or mental stress. All of these things, I think maybe we can, each of us maybe find one or more that are impacting our lives right now. Judy, would you kind of jump in and share with us some of the facts?
Yes, Mac, those are great questions, but here are some of the startling statistics involved with this. More than 50% will be diagnosed with a mental illness or disorder at some point in their lifetime. I was surprised by that figure. And this is a little scary to me. 50% of mental health problems are established by age 14 and 75% by age 24. Yikes, shows the importance of dealing with it as early as possible. In 2020, which I don't think is any surprise to us, the US experienced a 95% increase in the number of people asking for help for anxiety or depression. It is considered the new epidemic. In fact, so much, it's become so much of a problem that the National Health Service has now established a new number. In addition to 911, we now are going to have 988. That's how much of a problem it is. And that will be established sometime this summer, if they can find enough people to handle all the calls. So very serious situation. We hear a term used more frequently than we ever have before, and that's nootropics. Finn, can you help us define that and understand it better?
Sure, thanks, Judy. Yeah, nootropics is a fairly modern term. It came out in the early 1970s, and that's when the first brain enhancing drugs came out, if you want to think of like ADHD and those kinds of symptoms or problems. But now the term is actually a more generic term that refers to any natural or synthetic substance or even an activity that may have a positive impact on our mental skills and state of mind. And so there was a time when it was believed, I remember teaching this in massage school in anatomy and pathology, that brain cells did not regenerate. And we know for a fact that that is not true, that brain cells can regenerate all through our lifetime, and that brain or neuroplasticity is affected by two main factors. And the first one is use it or lose it. So we want to continually, constantly challenge our brain, do new things. That's where, word games or Sudoku or even driving or walking in a different neighborhood or anything to challenge the brain will help enhance those neurons of those brain cells. And another one is neurons that fire together, wire together. So that's the idea of repetition is the mother of learning. So the more we do something over and over again, we create stronger pathways. So those are things that we can do to just continually strengthen our brain. But as I was doing a little more research, and I've had the pleasure of studying with neuroscientists over the years, a new term came up, and that was really interesting to me. And it's a gene in our body that is called the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Now, BDNF is a protein that helps produce new brain cells and strengthen existing ones. So you want to think of it as fertilizer for the brain. And so this protein keeps our brain cells, those neurons, flourishing and strong. And when it releases BDNF, it flips a switch on a series of genes that grow brand new brain cells or strengthens the neurons or the brain cells we already have. So BDNF can also ease depression, boosts weight loss, protects against neurodegenerative diseases. And as we get older, as you can imagine, our levels of BDNF can naturally start to drop. But with a few really well-placed daily habits, we can continually release more BDNF all the time, keeping our brain resilient and our emotions really strong. So today, I think we're going to talk about a handful of those daily habits or things that we can do easily to help our body continually produce BDNF. So Julie, why don't you share some of those daily habits with us?
Sure, thanks, Finn. Well, today I'm going to talk about 5 strategies we all can use to increase our mental clarity so we can start feeling more focused, energetic, and best of all, more emotionally balanced throughout the day. So the first strategy, I know you know it, is, yeah, you're right, increase our water intake. All the research throughout the years still holds true. We need to drink enough water. And as we age, or maybe we're out in the streets, we don't maybe, drink enough water. But even mild dehydration can cause a decline in our cognitive functioning. We lose alertness, and the brain fog, well, it just starts rolling in when we're dehydrated. So the general rule of thumb for proper hydration is about 8-ounce cups of water per day. That's about 64 ounces total. So if downing about 8 glasses of water feels like very overwhelming, don't worry. You can also hydrate through your diet. Like, for example, you can use vegetables that are high in water content, like cucumbers, melons. But personally, I drink Cali every morning. That helps me lose those cobwebs out of the brain, and I have more mental clarity with Cali. And then in the afternoons, I drink Fortune Delight. And in fact, that's what I've got right here. And if it's really hot, which right now a lot of us are under heat waves, then I drink a vial of Sunrider Electrosport, because Electrosport comes in a small little vial. You actually put it in a glass of water and you drink it. You can put it in Cali or Fortune Delight, and it makes water wetter so your body can absorb water easier, because there are people that no matter how much water they drink, it is not absorbed into their body. And you will absolutely love the way you feel with Electrosport, because when your body maintains electrolytes, you will feel mentally alert. The strategy number 2, eat for mental clarity. So we all know that foods, well, they play a major role in how we feel, including whether we feel foggy or clear in the brain, or if our mood is up or if our mood is down. So if we're eating a lot of processed, high-fat, sugary foods, it makes it difficult for our bodies to process and can even contribute to more brain fog. And eating too much sugar is a depressant, and it makes us feel more emotionally unbalanced. So it's not our friend. Sugar absolutely is not our friend. So our goal is to eat as many nutrient-dense foods as possible into our diet. You know that. Like vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, beans, and get enough of the proper amount of protein. But also we want to eat a large variety of fruits and vegetables, because we want to make sure we're getting an adequate amount of phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, and what they call macronutrients. And that's one of the many reasons why thousands of people today have found the Sunrider Foundation foods to be life-changing. Now, do you know what I mean when I say Sunrider Foundation foods? Well, let me show you. I have some right here. It's New Plus. Here we go. New Plus and Quinary whole food formulas. They're a quick and easy way to have more than 50 different herbs. Quinary alone has 50 different herbs that feed the body's major systems, their meridians, their emotions, and they truly help us feel emotionally balanced. Now, Sunrider also, with their foundation foods, if you eat them daily, you will feel the energy and you'll feel that sense of well-being. We call this Nourish, Balance, and Cleanse, NBC. So we nourish with New Plus, or one of the variations of New Plus, which could be Vita Shake or the Sunrider Sunfit. And as you see, I have some here in my house. Right now, you can't get some of this in Sunrider. They're with the transition, we got a few things out of stock. But these are all variations of New Plus, and we can feed our bodies, we balance our bodies, we cleanse with Cali and Fortune Delight. And later on, we're going to hear some specific formulas for focus, stress, and sleep that you would add on to this foundation. And when you do that, you will just feel amazing. Strategy number 3, prioritize movement and exercise. Have you ever heard of the saying that says, as the body moves, the brain grooves? Well, it's very true. Movement or exercise is a must for improving mental clarity and helping our emotional well-being. You know, research says that just regular walking can help keep dementia away, and regular aerobic exercise actually increases the size of the hippocampus, which is an area of the brain that's associated with the memory and learning. That's amazing news. The American Heart Association recommends at least 75 minutes of vigorous activity each week if we want to see that mental clarity improve. So these are benchmarks that we can use as a place to start. So if you feel that you need more exercise guidance, I want you to let you know that Sunrider has a fitness program called the Fitness Brigade. We can order that on the Sunrider website. And if you have a desk job or sedentary job, aim to stand up and move around at least, once an hour. That will keep the blood flowing and the energy up. Did you know that we can increase our happiness brain chemicals ourselves by simple movement? And it's true. To increase the chemical serotonin, which is our mood stabilizer, we can do it by running. And if you can't run, taking a walk in nature, swimming, cycling, getting some sun exposure. Exercises releases also endorphins that are natural painkillers. And another common cause of brain fog, well, not getting enough sleep. So Dolphin, will you tell us about our 4th strategy and how we can improve our sleep patterns?
For sure. That was excellent, Julie. Thanks. So a few strategies for better sleep patterns is, first of all, regularity is key. So even on your days off or on weekends, do your best to go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, to really help support that circadian rhythm, your body clock. So that's one way to establish some better sleeping patterns. Number 2 is darkness. So darkness is what releases melatonin, and melatonin is the hormone that aids in sleep. So drop the lights a few hours, drop your lights in your house in the evening. I like to dim the lights, light some candles, and just have it a little more mood setting. And then, of course, getting off our computers and our phones and the TV at least 1 hour before bed, because blue light that comes off of these devices blocks melatonin. I've got my blue light blocking glasses right now that I'm wearing. And so that's another way to help reduce the amount of blue light. But the best way is turn off the devices. Definitely don't take your phone to bed with you. If you're using it as an alarm clock, get us something else. Just so that, you just have nice, dark setting when you're sleeping. Don't use alcohol or THC as a sleep aid. I know a lot of people say, well, it helps me, relaxes me and helps me fall asleep. But sedation is not sleep. So what happens is you might fall asleep, but you're not getting a good restful sleep. And quite often you'll wake up in the middle of the night. So it really creates fragmented sleep, and it actually blocks the REM, or the dream sleep cycle. And then lastly, Julie spoke about sugar, and caffeine and sugar are definitely not our friend when it comes to helping with sleep. So we want to reduce or eliminate caffeine and sugar at least 6 hours before bed. Research actually showed that sugar was found to block that BDNF protein in rats. So sugar is definitely not our friend. We have some excellent healthy sugar substitutes in Sunrider, or just even eating natural sweet things like fruit can be a much better alternative. So I'll give it back to you, Julie.
All right, thank you. That was really good. And our fifth strategy is self-care. Well, have you ever noticed that when a person gets emotionally or mentally off balance, self-care goes by the winds, the wayside or out the window? Well, we might not feel like taking care of ourselves. Many feel like isolating themselves, not getting involved with others. I have good news for you. Did you know that practicing even a little bit of self-care can actually produce happiness chemicals? It's true. Self-care activities produce the reward chemical dopamine, and we all need a little self-care to get that dopamine. So the more we take care of ourselves and others, the happier we will become. So really make time for a friend or a family member, reach out to your friends or community. If we laugh and have a little fun with them, we increase our endorphins, the natural painkiller. And if we hug our family or friend, or even give them a compliment, we actually produce oxytocin, the love hormone, which is another happiness chemical. Our mental well-being is definitely a key component of our physical and emotional health. So do something nice for someone. Showing kindness to others will help lift our spirits and allows us to feel fulfilled. The old ancient saying that there is more joy in giving than receiving really holds true to our own emotional well-being. Making just a few simple changes in the way we think, the way we eat, the way we drink, and the way we treat others doesn't need to take up a lot of time, but it can lead us to a happier life. So most experts agree that we all should start a gratitude journal. Writing down just 2 things a day, what we are grateful for, can create this awareness of all the positive things that are absolutely around us that we might not be seeing at the moment. And this not only helps us reduce our stress levels, but also allows us to focus on what really matters in life. And I'm really, truly grateful to Dr. Chen and his family for giving us these wonderful concentrated whole food formulas. It's not only helped me, myself, but it's also helped hundreds of thousands of people all over the world feel better over the last 40 years. I use them every day to feel the mental clarity, to have more energy. So in review, what are the strategies? So hydrate with water, Cali, and Fortune Delight. Eat a variety of nutritionally dense foods and add the Sunrider Foundation foods. New Plus, Quinary, Cali, Fortune. You will see the power of these foods. They're so regenerative. Increase movement and exercise. Why? Because the body moves. When the body moves, the brain grooves. And we will increase our serotonin levels ourselves without medication. Improve your sleep hygiene. Don't forget to increase our self-care. And as we do, then our happiness increases as well. So I'm going to now let Mac introduce our next speaker.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And Judy, if you don't mind, maybe you can come back in and talk to us a little bit about some of the products on the left-hand side of the screen here.
Oh, good. I see them all up there. Thank you, Mac.
You're welcome.
First, I'd just like to mention that Dr. Amen is a world-renowned psychiatrist. And one of the reasons he's so well known is because rather than issue medications for these mental health issues that we've been talking about, he turned his focus to nutrition and to lifestyle changes, which both Julie and Finn have given us so many things that we can work on. He also narrowed it down to 3 things we can do for our brain health. Number 1 is to care about it. And hopefully after today, if you hadn't thought about it before, you certainly will now. So we need to care. Number 2, we need to stop putting in the things that do harm. And that's already been illustrated somewhat with sugar, alcohol. I'd like to add to that combative sports. That would include football, soccer, anything which would cause a blow to the head. That's extremely dangerous and can have long-lasting effects, if not immediately, down the road. So we want to consider all of that. How many times have you been a spectator or around a sport and they yell, "Heads up," because you do not want to be hit on the head. And number 3 is to put in the things the brain wants. and needs to form. Oh, the one thing we want to eliminate, this will be interesting, low-fat diets. Yay! However, we cannot start hanging out with Colonel Sanders because it's not the bad fats, the saturated fried foods that we need to increase, but it's number 3, which is putting in the good things, and that's the essential fatty acids. The brain is made up of the majority of fatty substance. We need to supply the brain with essential fatty acids. That can be in the form of fish. We've heard of salmon, good for the brain, right? And we want fresh, not farmed. And there's numerous other things that we can do. Oh, and I like this. He called avocado God's butter. So avocado in there, everybody. And so it's not about pouring oils necessarily, like olive oil is great, but how about eating the olives instead, or getting the oil as it is produced naturally, flaxseed, evening primrose. So we want to concentrate on that, and also the many lifestyle changes that have already been mentioned. But now we've seen the importance of sleep. So Kali night, that is a ritual I in my routine every evening before bed is I have Kali night. You can have it during the day if you're feeling particularly nervous or can't focus, but it helps lift the nervous energy off the body, the bottle too. The brain, did you know that your brain is 20% more active during sleep? So we don't want a lazy brain. We want to be able to connect the dots in the morning. So part of that has to do with the length and most of all the quality of our sleep. So Kali night is certainly a must. Now look, we have Energy Plus up there, and that's again an essential fatty acid, has vitamin E, wheat germ oil, and some other ingredients. And the reason it's so effective is because it brings those oils where they can be used, and the brain will love you for it. Get out of that caffeine line that you might be getting in every afternoon. And I'll tell you why, because that may boost you momentarily, but it's going to drop you further down than when you got in that line. But how about instead a couple of Energy Plus? Because Energy Plus actually improves the cognitive ability as well as give you energy. Who has maybe felt like they needed to get some clerical work done, but they had no energy to do it? So this is supplying both ends. So I'm a big fan of Energy Plus. And I usually take my Energy Plus with, I'm going to sneak in vitamin D3. I can't help myself, because D3 has as much to do with your mental health as your physical health. I used to think that it was called the sunshine vitamin because the sunshine makes a difference in how we absorb vitamin D. But actually, it's called that because it elevates your mood. Now, both Energy Plus and vitamin D3 are fat soluble, so they need to be taken with food. I often take mine together. And so that's something to remember. We want to get the most bang for our buck, so to speak, make our health dollar count. So that's the best time to take it. Now, who doesn't feel better if they feel like they look better? It's our perception of how we feel and look. And nothing is more, has more of an effect.
Okay, it's already. I have to get through email. I have to get the see if I have the invite. Yeah,
I'm hearing something. Is that me or somebody else? So I'm not talking.
It's Lisa Power.
Oh, need to mute back there.
Please.
So K-Pure is fabulous. Not only does it give you fresh and glowing skin, but it's actually a health thing. Sometimes we say pamper yourself. Forget about pamper. It's essential. We want bacteria-free skin. Our skin's our largest organ. We deserve it and we need it. So K-Pure. And did you know that our oral care set is very helpful too, because scientists have determined, research scientists just more recently, that the plaque formed on your teeth is formed from a bacteria related to Alzheimer's. So again, you're just not pampering yourself. It's essential. do that because so many people have reported that their dentist accuses them of going to someone else in between visits because their teeth are so much more plaque free than before they used it. So please consider that in your program as well. And now the premier product that we all love, and I'm just so grateful that it was produced. I used to think and make jokes about myself as adult onset attention deficit. And I thought that was semi-humorous, but not really, because it was so true. And then Dr. Rubinstein came out with Top Focus. So then I knew I wasn't the only one. So what does Top Focus do for us? It gives us mental clarity, focus, helps our memory. It would be kind of categorized maybe as performance in the performance area, because while it nourishes with all natural ingredients, there is no added stimulants. There is no crash afterwards. In fact, it's kind of subtle. And initially, some of us thought, I'm not sure what it's doing for me. And then we'd reflect on, and oh yeah, I balanced the checkbook, did all these things in one sitting period, which normally would take 2 or 3 days to complete. So that's what it does for me. It totally makes a difference in the feeling of overwhelm and also in completion of tasks. Now, it's non-habit forming, but I don't know about you. I take it every day, except if I wasn't thinking about it and perhaps forgot and wonder why my day isn't going well. Because every day is something that we want a high performance day, most of us. But you might want to take more or extra, or you may just use it when you're particularly going to be speaking or working on something important like taxes or wanting more clarity. Mac, I know you love it like I do. Do you have anything to add to this about the neurotransmitters or any of those good things?
Yeah, for sure, Judy. And thank you very much. That was great, by the way, great explanations. And I love Top Focus as well. In fact, it's the first food that usually enters my body every day. As you said, it kicks in about 15 minutes, lasts about 4 hours typically. I love it for a number of reasons. Everything you've talked about, coming into these Zoom calls, interacting with people, wanting to be sharp, have a good memory, have clarity in thinking and in how you're expressing yourself. And for me too, kind of like Ruben had talked about in the very beginning, like him, I'm very much involved in the martial arts. So I'll take it first thing in the morning, and then I'll take a couple of more later in the afternoon in advance of my karate classes. And I have found it there, as well as during my normal day, really helping me remember those 200 techniques and their variations, those 20 different katas, being able to actually express and share with people how to do certain things. So again, I love this. And one of the things I like about it most, and we talk all the time, and when we discuss philosophy of regeneration, about formulation and owner expertise. And that's something I think really was huge in terms of this particular product. Just having the wherewithal and the background to know the combination of things like Chinese club moss and ginkgo biloba and natural choline, things like vitamin B12 and folate and phospholipids, bringing those together the way that Sunrider has done has allowed acetylcholine, for instance, which is a neurotransmitter. And for those that don't know, and Finn did a great job of explaining this earlier, but neurotransmitters, they send a chemical message that's released to the nerve cells to send signals to other cells, such as neurons, muscle cells, gland cells, etc. What Sunrider's done in this combination of ingredients is they've really developed a formula that helps acetylcholine transfer between the blood-brain barrier, which again allows all of this great stuff to happen in terms of this formulation and what it does to support our brain. One of the things that I'll put up on the website afterwards is a link to basic acetylcholine 101. It was a great video I saw. It's about 30 seconds or 2 minutes in length, whatever it is, but it explains all this and how the neurotransmitters works and the importance of acetylcholine, which is what this particular product is all about. So Judy, like you, I love it. It's something I use every single day. And you know, before we kind of close things down, there's another series of products that I think are really, really important, and they all deal with the central nervous system. And Cheryl, if we can turn back to you for a second, maybe you can walk us through what we call the jet set.
Thank you so much, Mac, and everyone. One of the things I love most about our Sunrider business is the fantastic teamwork and support we get from each other. And that brings me to the team of our Jet Set. These are formulas that feed the nervous system and work together as a team, but each one stands alone. So I wanted to share each one individually. Joy. So if you want to live life in balance by making the mind-body connection, use joy. Our unique herbal formula elevates your mood. It eases tension and fatigue, but it enhances our energy and well-being. And you'll feel better. You'll perform at your best. The Siberian ginseng promotes mental clarity and sustained energy. And while Dong Quai supports healthy circulation and white willow bark alleviates the pain. So joy actually makes you feel joyful because you're not in pain. It's so fantastic. And then our next formula of the Jet Set is our ease. I love this formula. It's one I would never be without. It relaxes us. It's naturally soothing. It relieves anxiety, stress, sleeplessness. You can have it during the day, but you can have it to fall asleep at night. It doesn't matter. You'll feel calm, you'll feel rested, you'll feel rejuvenated and ready to do your best. And the valerian root alleviates the tension and muscle spasm and helps with congestion, while the antioxidant-rich guting and Sophora japonica support our immunity. So ease is non-habit forming and won't cause drowsiness. So for anyone who wants to go through life with ease, this formula is for you. And then the third formula is our top. For top performance in any game, whether it's your work, your play, your school, it's a natural formula and top will do the job. It's nutrient rich, concentrated, supports your mental clarity, focus, memory, enabling you to enjoy a state of calm, healthy alertness. Prized herbs such as angelica root, Japanese honeysuckle flower, and valerian root keep you at your best every day at home, school, work, or play. And top is different than top focus. Dr. Chen explained it, Dr. Ruben Chen explained it once that top focus, if you want an immediate clarity and top performance for your brain, you want top focus. But for that long lasting nourishment for your brain, top is the one for you. So the Jet Set is a perfect team. And I like to have 2 or 3 in the morning of each one. That's how I start my day. If I have a busy afternoon or have to do, speaking or anything, I like to have a few more. And I love having my ease at night before I go to sleep. And my whole family just absolutely loves these formulas. Their schooling's better, their work is better, and we're so blessed to have them. And on that note, Mac, I'd like to pass it back over to you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Love those products too. And we'll be doing other calls and informative stuff. I can remember a question I always had in my mind is, well, do I need to take top, joy, and ease, all of them? And I remember Dr. Rubin talking, and again, we'll get into this more detail another time, about the idea of stacking, I think is what he called it, where it's very important to take all 3 of them together because they do stack on one another, if you will, in terms of how they work and how they support the central nervous system. But another more detailed topic for another time. Cheryl, that was great. Thank you so much. Before we close down, there's just a couple things I'd like to share, and that is, first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here with us. I want to thank the panel, as you guys have always do such a great job, no exception here. This was absolutely fabulous. And again, for me, what comes out of all of this is a better understanding of some of the issues that we're dealing with, that I'm dealing with personally, and the fact that there is help out there with everything that we've discussed today, up to and including some of these Sunrider foods. So I'm just so appreciative and thankful to all of you, the way that you shared today. And to the panel, are there any last comments anybody would like to make, just to share with anybody what you maybe heard or from somebody that you didn't realize before. Any last comments at all?
Mac, I would like to make a comment. I
Please.
just wanted to say, you know, having these solutions and having, you know, great people like you and the people on the call that share some solutions for people, it actually relieves a lot of stress out of our lives, because there's nothing greater than being able to assist someone else with things that are going on. And these are just great solutions for challenging times.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cheryl. Julie, Judy, anybody else have a parting comment? Finn?
I think it's all been said. Just fantastic information. I'm looking forward to rewatching it.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you all.
Right on. You know, it's funny, just a couple of things I just want to share at the end that I made a couple notes on real quick. Number one, and I think it goes back to Finn when you were talking about nootropics and so forth, in the comment about developing those strong neural pathways, you know, in terms of repetitive action. I can remember J.W. Emerson talking to me years ago as he related that particular topic back to how we eat and food. And his comment was, well, he was saying, you know, Mac, you know, you should really consider eating this way versus the way that you're eating. And I'm going, well, JW, you know, I will. And I know over time I'm going to get there, which I'm kind of there now. His point was, he says, all it takes, though, is one time of changing and going back to the old behavior, and your body wants to head back that direction. So again, keep developing those strong neural pathways through repetitive action. That was great stuff. You talked too about new activities, stimulating the brain with new things. And for me, that's one of the many reasons I love playing guitar and learning new songs. I mean, you know, you got the 10 you know really well, but there's those couple you want to learn and keep learning from. And I always go back to that to kind of stimulate the brain, to keep me thinking. Same with karate, always learning new stuff, etc. So again, you guys, I just can't thank you enough for the way that everyone shared today. This has been so wonderful. And to kind of close things down, we do have another bingo drawing. I will say there weren't many of you that turned in bingo results to me this last month. So there's not so many different names in the bag this time, but I am going to reach in as we do, because there is a $50 account credit on the line here. And Deborah, if you're on the call with us today, you are the lucky winner of a $50 Sunrider account credit.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will be putting out some more bingo cards to finish out this segment of our training through the months of June into July. And I just want to go back one last thing here to this last slide again. What's coming next? Summer, the fire element is on its way. And one of the things I've certainly enjoyed about the springtime and what we've done is the fact that we've not talked just about the spring elements, okay? We've done some specialized training. We've talked about spring for sure. We've talked about allergies. We've talked about various things, including we've done a men's call. We've done a call about the shortage of baby food formula here in the United States and North America. And we've now done a call on mental, emotional well-being and focus. Looking forward to what comes down the path in summer. Our commitment is we'll be having some more specialized training for you guys. And again, this is stuff we love. So if you have any ideas for us, if there's things that you would like for us to talk about that are related to summer, please get in touch with your upline, send me an email, let us know through the website as to the type of things that you would like to see us covering in this next segment. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate everyone. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we will stop the recording.